hoping to keep the dream alive and make it in to the qualifying match with the win over Armani.
Our first player, Creighton, in the top left of Lightshade, representing the Afrika Freaks with that clean logo. He is the Red Zerg player from South Korea. It's Armani. Oh, yeah.
What a good-looking logo. You know, sometimes, and I don't want to call out anybody for design decisions because design is not universal and like it's you know, there are big differences between all the different countries. But sometimes the Asian teams do get these really intense, like well-drawn, artistic logos that are just hard to recreate and they're not very memorable. That Afrika Freaks logo is clean. It's slick. It's easily recreatable. It meets all the guidelines, all the requirements for good logo design. I'm on board.
I'm with you too, man.
And
I'm
another
with you too. Oh, yeah,
another team with a pretty damn good logo here. But I think probably more important, slightly more importantly, Grant, an impressive player. In the bottom right-hand side, it is the one, the only, the Dutch, uThermal.
Dun, 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 dun. That's my guitar solo.
Grant, did you watch the A stream after we finished up yesterday?
Yes.
So I tuned in, and they didn't have like rock and roll guitar riffs.
Oh no, I think that's a DreamHack thing.
Yeah, because I know TSL had done them, and I was really hoping that the DreamHack would pick up the sick guitar riffs after player intros, because I know it's a little corny, a little cheesy, but you know, I mean, for God's sakes, that's my entire brand is a little corny. A little
yeah,
cheesy,
me too.
So I'm all about that, but. Right now, no big surprises here from uThermal. Reaper expand for him, and Armani going for the hatch gas pool. Very well timed, obviously. The pool just finishing up. Going to go for double queens. And Grant, I see no reason that these players should take this. I see no reason these players should end this before the late game, right? Armani and uThermal can both go the distance, and I think they're both going to want to here. Because remember, we're in the lower bracket. The loser goes home.
Yeah, this is the last chance saloon for both of these players, and both of them certainly favourites to go quite far in at least this round of 36 double elimination bracket. Maybe a little bit of upsets on how they got going, but we have seen specifically on this channel uThermal play against Zerg when he played against Scarlet, and I don't like to call anyone out or bad talk anyone, but it was a very one-sided series. uThermal looked phenomenal. He was very, very direct. He had his plan. He executed. His splits were just out of this world. And he looked very strong. And he's always been great in this matchup, winning an IEM once in China, I think, off of the back of his TVZ, especially with early builds. We've seen Mark sort of move into a more late game oriented style. This is a standard 1-1-1. We've seen a lot of Cloak Banshee from him. And it certainly looks like that's what's coming this way again, Creighton.
Amazing. And don't forget, you know, sure, he lost to Ragnarok in that first best of 3 in the upper bracket, but taking Ragnarok to a game 3 is like a feat in and of itself. And I wasn't able to catch that series, but I can almost guarantee you, Grant, it was pretty tight there. So I feel like uThermal's TVZ probably in a good spot right now, and Armani is probably pretty good with his TVZ as well. Yeah. This ought to be a great match here. Cloak Banshee's coming out for Mark, and just Speedlings and Overlord Speed on the way for Armani. I love the Overlord Speed thing. I've been preaching this on my channel for a while now, Grant, but Zergs need to get better at scouting. I think that's one major concern that I have for the long-term health of the game right now for Zerg players, is I think they need to start being a little bit more aggressive with their scouting. With the amount of different options that Protoss players have, with the amount of different viable builds coming out of all our Terran players now, Zerg players should probably start being a little more aggressive with their scouting, and Overlord Speed is a great way to do it. We see Armani taking advantage now. He's going to get in and see that Cloaked Banshee just as it pops out.
Yeah, absolutely perfect. And we talked about this once again, going back to that Scarlet series. She didn't scout much at all, and Cloaked Banshees both times found not game-ending damage, but enough to slow her down. Armani already getting spores. His queen count already going up to 7. He's certainly lining up to be in a good place. But I do like uThermal's made a slight change in that he's made a couple more Hellions than he did against Scarlet. So although he is confident with the build and the way he played it yesterday, I do think Armani will have scouted Mark uThermal, and adding on those couple of extra Hellions just to pressure as the Banshees hit is very, very smart play here. If it works out, he'll slow Armani down, but it is scary. He does probably need to find damage because Armani is already droning up quite heavily. He's getting towards 60. we've seen a couple of Zergs go up towards 80 by the sort of 6.5 minute mark, and that's not where uThermal can let Armani get, because in a very even late game, I think Armani is going to be a real threat.
It's so cool that you can call uThermal Mark. Grant, I love that you're tight with top players like that.
I mean, it's no big deal.
Banshee, by the way, getting absolutely nothing done on this side of the map. I don't know if it didn't go down. I don't think.
No, it did not.
The second one joining it here, but already Armani spores in place here to defend. I love the double spore here. Really, not the whole point. Not usually what you see, but I love double spore. Yeah. We talked about this a little bit in the series with uThermal and Scarlet. I personally had always felt like Banshees weren't a great choice. I was like, Sword players are just so good at defending. I don't think they do too much. And then uThermal's Banshees against Scarlet were always at one side of the mineral line, at the other side, just like sniping off, transferring drones, little bits and bobs here and there. And they got a little bit of damage done. So even though it's a little bit of an investment, I love that Armani has doubled up on his defense here, and that's going to prevent uThermal from getting much done. Both players expanding now. Armani with a fourth, uThermal with a third. Still very much anybody's game. I don't think anybody has a superior build order or anything at this point.
No, Armani hasn't been able to drone up quite as heavily as he'd like. He does have 20 lings on the field, and that's 10 drones he doesn't have, because he has to be a little bit safer to defend here. He also had to get a couple of extra spore crawlers to stay safe. So he's only at the low 70s right now, which, you know, is still a very good number, but it's not like unbelievable. uThermal with a nice scan, sees the double upgrades wearing away there, sees centrifugal hooks on the way. He's going to be able to clear a little bit of creep here, which is nice. Armani's creep is very good through the center of the map, actually. And we do have a bit of a run-by queued up to the south here. If uThermal isn't prepared for this, it could be scary. It's not a run-by, Creighton. Not at all. This is Serral-esque. This is a ling drop.
Yeah, we've been seeing a lot of this the last couple, not just here in IEM Katowice, but also the last couple of weeks overall. I don't know if you've been seeing it on the games you've been casting as well. But these 8 ling drops into the main with a dropper lord, it's such a low-cost investment, and hitting in 2 places at once is great. So Armani's going to fake into the third here, drive back. uThermal's trying to set his push-up, right? He's got everything on this side of the map, and these lings are going to get in. And, I mean, the low-cost, high efficiency of this play is frustrating as hell to deal with. This is great.
Yeah, now this is the kind of thing that theoretically shouldn't work more than once or twice in a series. It shouldn't find much more damage, but 8 workers at this point is incredible. Throws uThermal back down to 56 SCVs. It's not a great start for him, but his army is looking pretty good. The one thing I'm scared of for uThermal is 1-1 finished a little bit ago. He hasn't started 2-2, and he does have that armory, so it's a little scary. We're seeing Armani not play Mutalisk as well. He's going into Hydras, he's getting his Infestation Pit, and it looks like after this engagement, he's going to be trying to move into Lurkers. Good engagement for uThermal.
I was about to say, yeah, that worked out really, really well. Even though those tanks sort of got jumped on at the very beginning, the Marine Corps in the back really able to help out, and now these Hellbats are also going to make this really difficult. Bit of a run by the third here as well. Should get cleaned up fairly easily. It's the beauty of going by. Always something to kind of clear this out. uThermal not responding to it, though. Apparently, all his attention on this attack on the other side of the map.
Yeah, uThermal's now been thrown into a position where he needs to find some damage, almost certainly. He's just lost 20 more SCVs for a total of 28 in this game, Creighton, and before 10 minutes, that's kind of a little bit too much damage. This attack, though, there's not as many Marines as he'd like to have. He is parade pushing, but we have the big surround coming from Armani. Baneling's in the front, off creep. uThermal has been shown to be an incredible splitter, but there's so much Zerg.
Yeah, beautiful flank there, slowing down the retreat of those Marines and allowing the Banelings, even off creep, to try and get on top of these units from uThermal. And we can already see, even though the army supplies are even, that 63 to 40 worker differential is really going to pay off for Armani here. He's on 5 bases, and uThermal functionally on 2 right now, Grant. I don't know if you can pull up the income graph there with the one on your numpad or whatever it is, but oh, you can't. You don't have a numpad, you monster. I always forget.
You can't rebind it.
The income differential is massive right now this game, and uThermal's not out of it or anything, just a little bit behind now.
Yeah, this is still not the end of the world. +2 finally starting off for uThermal. That's a big concern for me because, as you can see, Armani's at 2-2. He's already getting Hydra upgrades. He's making a big bunch of drones, feeling very, very, very safe right now. And it's going to be up to uThermal now to try and dictate the pace. He doesn't have a 4th. He doesn't have a 4th CC even started, which is terrifying. Most likely, if this game goes much longer, he'll have to fly his main over, which isn't what he wants to be doing. uThermal supply is still pretty good, but he's never been able to get many workers. And now we see that transition towards lurkers coming in full effect. And once that hive finishes and we see the seismic spines and things coming in, it's going to be so hard for uThermal to break this because he just doesn't have the economy to get a big bank and to drop everywhere and to punish the unmaneuverability of Armani's army.
Yeah, that's his best hope right now, but man, Armani is making this work. Keeping the Lings and Banes out of the map is sort of making up for the fact that lurker transition is going to be a little bit slow. One thing we haven't talked about at all this game yet is what we talked very briefly about is the upgrades. Very rare to see a Zerg player up 1-1 before a Bio Terran player is at 1-1 as well. Armani has been cranking out these Evo chambers almost constantly all game. My guess, Grant, is as soon as that hive finishes up, 3-3 is going to start right away. I'm pretty sure Armani wants to get up that 3-3 and just hit it very hard, as our friends in the World of Warcraft community would say.
Talking about the World of Warcraft community, a whole bunch of my guild members are in chat spamming a copy pasta about me, so thank you, but I don't have time for that. Seismic Spines is on the way, Creighton. 2-2 is finishing up for uThermal, and there is no 3-3, instead range upgrades on the way here from Armani, so uThermal has a chance to catch back up. I'm still very concerned by the lack of 4th CC. It still does not even exist in the production tab, and there's already Vipers and Lurkers and tons of Lings on the way. No adrenal glands means that these Lings aren't as cost efficient as they could be, but another big Baneling run by. This does not look good. These SCVs have nowhere to go. Goodbye.
Oh God, that was beautiful from Armani. This is the, like, if we were on the A stream, this is the thing where I'd be talking to our broadcast. I'd be like, I want to see that again because I want to draw some John Madden X's and O's on it and show why that was freaking brilliant. But Armani blocking out the escape route, splitting up and forcing those Banelings back. And yeah, uThermal knows he can't pull it out from here. There's just too much Armani, Grant. Beautiful game. GG for the Korean Zerg player.
And we'll be getting into map 2 very shortly. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for all joining us on this Sunday afternoon, morning, or evening, wherever you are in the world. Thank you. We love you. It's so good to see so many of you. My name is Grant. I'm joined by Creighton. He's very handsome and bald, and he's got a big logo with his name on it because he forgets how to spell it. So, you know, he has to have it. No, other way. There we go. We'll be getting into our next map very shortly, waiting to find out what it is. I think uThermal will be able to learn from his mistakes. Theoretically, Romanticide will be map 2, because it was the Ling drop that really threw him off in that game. He did take some relatively not great engagements and wasn't prepared for run buys, but he's now seeing that Armani is playing like Raynor. He's trying to play like Serral with these lurker styles with lots of Ling run buys, and that is what uThermal practice against day in, day out. So I think I'll be able to adjust a little bit, and I'm hoping we get a game 3 because it's our only series of the day.
Man, me too. That would be fantastic. And you know, I try not to be too biased as a caster, Grant. I feel like I do a pretty good job. I play random. I'm from America, so I don't cheer for EU or Korea more than the other. But I will say I love cheering for the underdog. And right now, uThermal is the only non-Korean player remaining here in this round of 36. So for those of you who are just tuning in today or haven't been following, you can type !bracket in the chat to sort of see what the bracket looks like. But if you want to get a better idea of what's going on, I highly encourage you to check out the Liquipedia page for this event. Just search for Liquipedia IEM Katowice 2021, and you'll kind of see what the format is. And maybe, Grant, once we get into the game and introduce the players, we can talk a little bit about sort of where we are in the tournament right now and why we're just at the beginning of all the excitement.
Yeah, we're going to load in right now, guys, so we'll be back with you in just 5 seconds. Our first player in the top left. He has a bit of a mountain to climb, but if anyone can do it, it is this man. Representing Team Liquid, the Terran player from the Netherlands, it's uThermal.
And his opponent 1 game away from making it into the lower bracket qualifier match. Representing the Africa Freaks in South Korea, dressed in the finest threads available. It's Armani.
They do have
you ever touched an Armani suit, Grant?
No. You think I can afford an Armani suit?
No, not own one. Just like, I mean, you live in London, which is home to some of the best.
I don't, but okay.
Oh, sorry. You don't. You live in Bristol, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you've been to London.
Yeah.
Surely Savile Row is like, anyway.
Yeah,
whatever.
I just walk up and touch people in the street that are wearing nice suits.
Grant Hill, quote, I just walk up and touch people in the street. when you're a StarCraft caster, they let you do it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just like, do you know who I am? Okay, so yeah, let's talk about the tournament.
Let's talk about the tournament.
Yeah, in terms of the bracket, this is the lower round, the losers round 3. What that means is that both of these players will need to win this match and one matchup more in order to qualify. If they lose, they are eliminated from the tournament. For every win they've had so far, getting to round 3, they have banked a little bit more money. They're all up, they're at above 1,000. In terms of where we're going after this is just the qualifier in inverted brackets for the main event. The group stage is starting tomorrow. So there's a lot of StarCraft to be played. If these guys get through and qualify to the groups, they're with all of the best players in the world. Maru, Sarul, Raynor, M. Canning, but not M. Canning, we can pretend. He's directly seeded to the grand finals. So it's a long battle, and both players just trying to make as much money as they can.
Yeah, well, that's the great thing about this event. For those of you who've maybe followed it a little bit, you might be wondering, wait a minute, when they announced this tournament, it was $500,000 prize pool. Now it's only $250,000, which is still just, I mean, crazy money for playing video games. Yeah. But a lot of that money has been sort of plowed back into the rest of the year, the rest of the event. Yeah. And will be, it's not like a budget cut or anything. They're just going to reinvest that money, hopefully the next offline event. Fingers crossed, when we have offline events again. But as Grant said, today is basically the end of sort of what you might call like a last chance qualifier, where 4 players are going to make it into that group stages, which start tomorrow. And so I think a lot of people in chat over the course of yesterday were asking like, oh, wait, where's Hero Marine? Where's Raynor? Why isn't Maru? Where's Trap? I thought Trap, all of those players in the group stages, groups start tomorrow. And, people always ask, which is the group of death? Holy shit,
Every
Grant.
group.
All of them. And sometimes people say that, and we're kind of like, oh, it looks like maybe A and B are tough, but C is pretty easy for this player. Holy crap, Grant. I couldn't possibly predict who's coming out of any of these groups that start on Monday.
And I'm going to take a moment to do something I'm not allowed to do. And I have a friend who is working in a hospital right now during a brutal shift, watching during his very short break. So we love you. I'm not going to say your name, but doctor, keep it up. Thank you. For doing what you do. Anyway, this game, pneumatized carapace once again. We are going to see those speed overlords coming in. That does, of course, increase the risk of drop play, but uThermal is already getting a Viking. He's learning. He also went extraordinarily quick free CC. And that means he is going to have an incredible economy. Unfortunately, he is going to miss this overlord initially. He will be able to pick it up before all is said and done, but it does get that full scout with the 3rd CC. And what is that going to mean for Armani? It's going to mean another big round of drones. We're going to go into a relatively even game, but Armani saw the Liberator being researched. It's fair to assume he'll know what that is. Viking into Liberator, very standard opening with a starport with no tech lab.
Yeah, absolutely. The good news for uThermal is that I feel like some scouts are more valuable than others, especially with some builds. If you're going for Cloaked Banshee, it's not like a wacky build that if you scout it, it's just an automatic win. But definitely seeing the Cloaked Banshee gives the Zerg player a lot more preparation, a lot more options to defend against it. Whereas if you just see a 1-1-1 and a 3rd command center, basically all you can do is say, oh, okay, I guess we're going macro. That gives me a little more space to breathe. So it still informs your decision. It just doesn't like give you a hard counter or anything like that. So still good news for Armani. Obviously, uThermal would have liked to push it away, but not the end of the world by any stretch of the imagination. And look at this, Armani getting back into the main yet again. Good to see Barracks 2 and 3 coming down.
Yeah.
He knows he's up against Bioplay, but no surprises. I can't remember the last time I saw uThermal go mech.
No, it's been a while. That's not as valuable a scout. He sees everything. He does get to see the lay of the land in this game. But uThermal is playing very standard off of 3 CCs here. The Overlord getting out is nice. We do have uThermal pushing down to the south once again with like 100 trillion Hellions. It doesn't look like he's going to be able to find too much. Link's managing to get a pretty decent wrap around here. The Hellions are very, very oiled up, though. They'll be able to escape. He loses a couple. Kills a lot of Lings, though. In terms of resources lost, we can see 22 Lings just went down. That's a large amount. And the main thing to point out in comparison to Game 1 and Game 2 is that there are no failed Banshees. There is no tech that hasn't worked out. Look at the SCV compared to the drone count. If we look at the income right now, uThermal is mining just that bit more. And that means he's going to be in a great position when the fights, when they start butting heads, when they have very even fights. uThermal has shown, and he even showed in that last game, his splits are sick.
Yeah, he is not to be trifled with, man. I like to think of these players as now. This may be a cultural thing, Grant. You certainly didn't collect baseball cards growing up because you guys don't have baseball. You have like cricket and Skittles and like all these other weird fucking games. Did you collect like Skittles cards growing up or cricket cards growing up?
Yeah, cricket cards. Yeah, I've got a whole collection of them. We have a I can't even think of a very English name to make a joke there, but
If I knew any cricket players, I'd drop them here. But
I don't either.
I couldn't name a single cricket player in my life. But I feel like the back of uThermal's cricket card has got to have like maxed out 5 stars on marine splitting. He's just so good. Look at this though, Armani trying to come in for a surround, but watch uThermal. He's going to wedge himself back in this little corner, and he's still going to trade pretty damn efficiently here. I think he'll finally lose these Hellions, but still gets a ton of kills, man. You can fight Hellions with Lings, but my God, it never feels efficient. It never feels efficient, Grant. I still think that was a decent trade for Armani. For uThermal.
Yeah. Look at the drone count once again. He's now having to make 48 more Lings. That is not drones. And that's what Armani wants. I do want to say Armani's creep is absolutely bonkers. It is so good. It's so multi-layered as well. If one active tumor is picked off, it's not like he's lost it and needs to send another queen up. Oh God! Oh no! Not this way! Please!
Please, no. Oh no. uThermal fighting up here on the north side. Gonna try and get surrounded again. Armani doing a really nice job surrounding everything uThermal's got, but unfortunately that means uThermal has nothing back home. Does he see the Dropper Lord in time? He does pull!
This is good.
And oh my God, he's going to do it. Very nice. Has a little battalion back home, and that was a pants browning moment for uThermal. But it looks like he pulled away with it.
Yeah, definitely. He's going to have to get some extra liquid tabs into his washing after that one. Now, uThermal is pushing up towards this north side, towards the 4th base, and he has a very strong standing army. 2-2 has started up for him. It's a little slower than I think would be ideal, but this wraparound force isn't looking like it's going to work too much. Those tanks are siege up in a great position, and now we see the big fight coming in. The reinforcements are going to need to split pretty good. They do target down the banelings, very nice. All of the marines going to be picked up. The tanks go down, and uThermal is pushed back, but he's up in supply created, even in workers. And watch 2-2 kicks in. This is going to be a very, very scary hold for Armani.
Absolutely. Now Armani is still ahead in upgrades. Nice, even snipes that baneling thing down. That baneling Dropper Lord down. Very nicely done. But yeah, so Armani's upgrades slightly ahead. Again, this game he's being very diligent about getting up to that +2/+2 very quickly. But as you said, uThermal slightly ahead this time compared to last game. The upgrade gap is not going to be quite as wide, and I think that's really good news for uThermal. We see more and more of his attacks continuing to do a little bit more damage, and the trades for Armani not as effective as they are last time. I will say, if we're looking at, again, the back of these players' cricket cards, uThermal might have amazing splitting and micro, but Armani so far has been maxing out his surround and map awareness card right now. Every single attack from Armani has been a surround. Look at this. He's setting up for it again.
Yeah.
Lings and Banes the south side. Lings and Banes the north, or on this side, or whatever it is. He's going to try and get a 360 surround. But look at this. uThermal pre-splitting Grant as these Lings come in. This is gorgeous.
Yeah, this is uThermal's moment. Lurkers are not here. The tech is happening right now. If uThermal can take a cost-efficient fight right now, he can push through and punish the 4. But Armani has so many Lings. His 2-2 finishing up. And uThermal's still 30 seconds away. uThermal, unfortunately, not able to break through. It was so close for a moment. Now, he does have a force down at the very south side of the map, running into that 5th base. And if he can kill this 5th base, that will be the damage he needs, but it doesn't look too likely here, Creighton. Unfortunately, uThermal going to be forced to pick up and get out of dodge. Now, supply still bang even. uThermal's 2-2 completed. Libs on the way, but there's already Vipers, Seismic Spines, and Adrenal Glands coming in for Armani. Armani doing a phenomenal job with that creep, with those surrounds, and it's just going to come down to if uThermal can break down the Afrika Freaks Zerg player in the next couple of minutes.
This is where things start to get a little bit scary for uThermal, right? Because up until now, he's just been up against Ling Bane. That's been it. Flat Ling Bane for 10 minutes. Not Ling Bane Hydra, not Ling Bane Muta. Flat Ling Bane for Armani. But now, Lurkers are up. Now, Vipers are up. Armani starting to round out his toolkit a little bit more to have a slightly more diverse force, and being able to defend with these Lurkers is going to allow him to swing the tempo back in his favor. The time is nigh for Armani to turtle up and wait for uThermal to come to him.
I will say uThermal's done a good job of expanding like mad. He's got a lot of bases. which is where he wants to be. He's moving into extra factories. He's adding a lot of libs, getting vehicle weapons, and a lot of tech labs. So I think we're going to start seeing quite a few tanks and things like that coming out for uThermal here. These Banelings cannot be allowed to connect. They don't get a great connection there.
Nice.
Those Marines standing strong. That Bio not going to be able to take them down. And everything uThermal kills right now is great because Armani is still only in the 80s of drones. He's really, really not been allowed to super power up. uThermal is all over the map right now, playing like MVP in his heyday. This is the uThermal we all came to see today. This is what we wanted from our one best of 3. But those lurkers are doing so much damage right now. Great, and uThermal picks up good. Whew. No favoritism here, obviously.
A little bit of a mistake that uThermal able to make it out barely alive. I love this, though. It's such a mobile style from both players, Grant. And this is, you know, I like almost all different builds in StarCraft. I think there's a beauty in everything these players do. Even like Skytoss, I think there's something really gorgeous about it. But these massively mobile armies on both sides, where it's Marine Medevac versus mostly Ling Bane, just makes both of these players so dynamic and the entire battlefield at play. One thing I also wanted to point out, remember about 8 minutes ago, Grant, when you were like, wow, Armani's creep spread this game is so good. He's almost halfway across the map. Look at where his creep spread is, Grant. Not halfway across the map.
And nothing to the south side. That's what I've noticed here. He's not spread at all downwards. And eventually those bases will mine out and he will need to take the south side of the map. uThermal is expanding towards his opponent right now, knowing that he has a bit more momentum. Lurkers, though, make this trickier. I'm still impressed with how uThermal's been playing this. He has done great. He is still maxed. He's up 1 SCV and, of course, has the power of mules, which means he's up 80 SCVs. His upgrades are pretty good. Slightly ahead of that of his opponent, it looks like, about even in terms of things. He's making 4 siege tanks at a time, though, and I've always been a fan of uThermal when he plays mass siege tanks. I've seen him make like 20 right now, sitting on 11, and that's very difficult for the lurkers to break.
Yeah, definitely. You can't engage with this. The siege tank range is just so good. As long as you've got those scouting units out at the front, those siege tanks are going to be highly effective and highly efficient. So we're going to see the Ling wrap around again from Armani here. But look at this. Liberators up, siege tank, siege. Not only does uThermal know this is coming, he's had a time to set up. So he's going to get pretty good trades here as he moves into the base. A good scan on some of these lurkers here. And even if uThermal loses this entire army, this is still a halfway decent trade for our Dutch player, Grant.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't bad. He killed quite a few lurkers there. I wish we had battle reports. 7 lurkers have gone down. uThermal is still up in supply. He's making 15 Marines and 5 siege tanks at a time. His 3-3 getting moment by moment closer to completing, and that's where he will start to explode onto the map. And Armani just hasn't been allowed to expand. If we take a look at bases right now, he's sitting at 5 hatcheries with a 6th on the way. uThermal has 2 planetaries and 4 orbitals, so he's really got a lot of bases that he can use here, and the planetaries will be great defensively. If uThermal can get 1 more base, I'm starting to really like how this is going. And I know a couple of you guys are going, oh, you're so biased. We just want a game 3.
That's pretty, yeah, I'm biased toward getting a game 3 because I want to see these players play more. Here's a big attack coming into the planetary, and this is not looking good for Thermi. His army's slightly out of position here. A couple Marines not going to be enough, and a nice blinding cloud from Armani. Unfortunately, it looks like this planetary fortress is going to fall, and that's a huge win right now for Armani. Economically, he's behind, so this is where he can do the most good. And oh my god, the rotation down the inside 12 o'clock base as well. Grant, whew, not what we were hoping for here. uThermal getting caught with his pants around his ankles.
Yeah, his army is just like not. Where is it? Where is all his bio? It's just sitting in the middle of the map right now. uThermal really needs to find a way to counter punish what has just happened. He didn't lose too many SCVs, and at this point in the game, it's not too bad to lose some. His upgrades are getting closer to completing, and maybe that's what he's waiting for. But we're seeing Burrow coming in now for Armani. And if this ends in any way, I don't want it to be Burrow Banelings, great, and that's just not fair. Oh my god, this is so many lurkers. He's holding them. Now he lets them fire. Very, very cute there. Making sure they get some maximum shots off by using the whole fire command. That was awesome by Armani. But now uThermal's going to siege up this base here. There's a lot of Hydras here, but the tank count is insane. This base will be given up. uThermal finds the counter damage we asked for.
Yeah, trading 1 base for 2, never really what you want. But as you said earlier, he's got a couple extra bases here, and of course the beauty of Terran is that you can move those bases out. So hopefully uThermal retakes this base quite soon. Bit of a fight going down to the south side. Nice blinding clouds though, and this is looking better and better.
Yeah, uThermal forced to take off. He is retaking that base at the north side.